Yo, what's up guys? It's Noah here, and in today's video, going to be breaking down the NBA slate on Draftkings and Yahoo for Sunday, May the 1st. We do officially have the start of the second round of the playoffs on Sunday. We got the Bucks and the Celtics starting their series, game 1, and then we have the Warriors and the Grizzlies starting their series that they play after that. Do want to mention that both these games do start early, so if you're planning on playing this slate, it's an early start. First game of the day is at 1 Eastern. Next game follow that is at 3:30. But yeah, guys, we got a two-game slate to talk about. As always, we'll break down these two games, go game by game, kind of talk through each team, what stands out to me, taking a first look at this slate on Saturday. I am recording this video a little early, recording it on Saturday afternoon. Going to go ahead and upload this video, Saturday night, especially since these games do start early on Sunday. Want to go ahead and get this video up so all you guys can see it in time. But yeah, we'll talk through the slate, kind of, give my early thoughts. Just before we do, make sure you guys hit that like button down below. I always appreciate the likes. If you have not yet, hit that subscribe button as well. I do plan on uploading these videos daily throughout the playoffs. I know we're getting to a point now where, we're only going to have like 2 games a day. And, once these series start to end, then I think at that point we're just going to have like 1 game each day. Don't know yet if I'm going to cover the showdown slates. So like on the days where we have just 1 game, I don't know if I'm going to do showdown because like NBA showdown has never been my best. I don't really enjoy it. But maybe when the finals get here, maybe I'll start covering the showdown slates then. But for now, while we have 2 games each day, I will cover the 2-game slates every day. So, yeah, we're going to talk through this as normal. Just, guys, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. If you're new here, check out PrizePicks as well. They are the sponsor of this video. PrizePicks, very simple. They're a player prop-based DFS site, so you're just picking the over or the under on players' projections. And they do already have a lot of props posted for Sunday's games. They even have some stuff up for Monday's games if you want to take a look at their board for Monday. But for Sunday's games, they have a lot of props posted. You're just picking the over or the under on their projections. They have fantasy point projections, points, assists, rebounds, points, rebound, assists added together, 3-pointers made, blocks and steals, double-double. They got everything. It's very simple. Just picking the over or the under. You have to make at least 2 picks, but you can make up to 5 picks, and you can win up to 10 extra money on PrizePicks. So definitely give them a try. If you have not yet, sign up. Use promo code NOAH. They'll match your first deposit up to $100 when you sign up with my promo code. But yeah, guys, let's talk through these first 2 games. We're going to start off with Milwaukee and Boston. So looking at Milwaukee here, they are obviously still without Chris Middleton. And we kind of know at this point like what Milwaukee's rotation is going to look like. They pretty much ran an 8-man rotation in that series against the Bulls, and I think that's going to be the case once again here. Giannis, Drew, Portis, Lopez, Allen, Connaughton, Matthews, and Carter. Those will be the 8 guys that get minutes. I don't think anyone else gets minutes unless it turns into a blowout or something. So yeah, we can expect very, very heavy minutes for Giannis, for Drew, and obviously without Chris Middleton, there's going to be increased usage for both these guys. And we kind of saw in the series against the Bulls, like the Bucks really didn't have to push Giannis and Drew a ton. I mean, they were able to play them somewhat light. Giannis only played 30 minutes in that closeout game because it was a blowout. Game 3 of the series, he only played 29 minutes. Like, really the only game he got pushed hard was like game 2. He played 40 minutes. He would have played more in game 1, but he was in foul trouble. I think in this series against the Celtics, especially without Chris Middleton, I mean, the Celtics are probably favored to win this series if I had to guess. If they're not, it's probably very close. They're going to really need to push Giannis in this series. He probably is going to play like 40 minutes a night. And I expect like all these games to stay close. I think right now this game has like a 4-point spread. So I like Giannis quite a bit. I know the matchup's tough. Boston's a really good defensive team, but Giannis is a matchup-proof player. He's going to get huge minutes. He's obviously in play on a 2-game slate. And then Drew Holiday, he was kind of disappointing even without Middleton. Really hasn't had like any great games, but we know the upside is there for Drew Holiday, and he does get a big bump in usage with Middleton off the floor this season. Minutes should be pretty high for Drew. He should play like 40 minutes if it's a close game, so I don't have an issue going to Drew at 8,200. I think he's definitely in play. Bobby Portis, we saw start in place of Middleton while he was out. I'm guessing Portis is still going to start in this series with Middleton out. And Portis' minutes were pretty good in the games he started. He played 25 minutes in a blowout, 33 minutes in a game where Brook Lopez got in foul trouble, and then last game he played 32 minutes. I think we get like 32 minutes from Bobby Portis. We know he's a good point-per-minute player. 6,400, I think he's kind of priced where he should be, but definitely has the upside when he's getting the minutes, and I expect the minutes to still be there. Brook Lopez, with Bobby Portis now starting, it's tough to feel good about Brook Lopez because Bobby Portis is a guy that does take up a lot of usage. He's a very high usage player. He takes a lot of shots. He's a good rebounder. So I don't think Lopez is going to be someone I really go to. He's not someone I have a ton of interest in. He really hasn't been that good the last 3 games in that Bulls series with Portis in the starting lineup. And then the value guys, I do want to talk about Grayson Allen and Pat Connaughton. So Grayson Allen at 4,800, he was good in those 3 games without Middleton. He was scoring a ton. He was taking a lot of shots. His minutes were pretty solid. I think in this series he's going to play about 25, 28 minutes a night off the bench. So I think 4,800, like the price tags come down a little bit. I don't have an issue going to Grayson Allen. I think he is definitely in play today. And then Pat Connaughton's a guy I do like a lot for value as well. His minutes should be pretty good without Middleton. Like he's going to get 25 to 30 minutes off the bench. We know Connaughton's another guy that can shoot. He can score. He shot really well in that game 5 against the Bulls. He played 23 minutes off the bench, shot 7 for 11, 6 for 9 from 3, had 26 Draftkings points. I've been saying it like in all these playoff slates. It's just so hard to find good value just because at this point we know what the rotations are going to be. Unless a guy gets injured or something, like value's never going to open up. So you kind of have to look to guys like Pat Connaughton, Grayson Allen for value. And I think 3,900 for Pat Connaughton. If he's still playing 25, 28 minutes a night, he's someone that I do have interest in, especially with Middleton still out. So I'm definitely into Pat Connaughton as a value play, kind of at first look. And he's very cheap on Yahoo. He's minimum salary over there, so I definitely like Pat Connaughton on Yahoo if you want to play him, over there. And that's really it for the Bucks. So we can go ahead and move on to the other side of this game and talk about Boston. So with the Celtics, we know Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown are going to have big-time roles, going to play huge minutes. I think Tatum at 9,400 looks like a really good pay-up option on this slate. In that series against Brooklyn, he was crushing like every night, was playing massive minutes. He was playing 40-plus minutes a night. And like I said, I think in this series, we're going to see very heavy minutes for the main guys. Tatum, Brown, Marcus Smart. On the other side, Giannis, Drew. Like all these guys are going to play 36 to 40 minutes. Probably closer to 40 minutes a night. 9,400 for Tatum against Milwaukee. Like I think this is a pretty good spot for Tatum, especially with Milwaukee not having Middleton. Not sure who's going to guard Tatum here. It might be Giannis, might be Drew. I don't think it'll be Drew though. Either way, Tatum's basically a matchup-proof player. He's going to have massive usage when he's on the floor. He's going to play huge minutes. I think at 9,400, he looks like a really good pay-up option as well. He's someone that I do have quite a bit of interest in today. On Yahoo at the small forward position, he is definitely one of my favorite small forwards if you can get to him. I do like Tatum quite a bit on this slate. I think Jaylen Brown's a solid option too. He should play about 40 minutes. I think he's kind of priced where he should be. We haven't seen like massive upside from Jaylen Brown. In that Brooklyn series, he didn't have like a ton of huge games, but we know that upside's always there, and we know the minutes are going to be there as well, which definitely brings him into play. And then you got Marcus Smart at 6,200, who is someone that I've just kind of been playing a lot in the playoffs. He's just been super, super consistent. He had like one bad game in game 2 of the series against Brooklyn, but game 1 he played 36 minutes, had 42 DK points. Game 3, 38 minutes, 30 DK points. In that closeout game in game 4, he played 37 minutes, had 45 DK points. I think Smart's going to play, 36 to 40 minutes a night in this series. They need his defense out there going up against Drew and, Giannis. He'll probably be the primary defender on Drew. So I expect big minutes from Marcus Smart. He's one of these guys that can do a little bit of everything when he's on the floor. He can shoot threes. He can rebound. He can obviously get a ton of assists as well. He's got upside at this price tag, and I think he's just a very solid mid-range option. He's a guy that I've been playing a lot in the playoffs so far, and I think on this slate he looks like a pretty good play once again. So like Marcus Smart on both sides, very affordable. On Yahoo, I think you can play him over there as well. And then the bigs, you have Horford and Robert Williams. So Horford, since Robert Williams has come back, has definitely taken a bit of a hit. Obviously, Horford still has upside. He is someone that I do like to use a lot in this matchup against Giannis. Horford has, in the past defended Giannis, and he might defend Giannis in this series. So maybe he plays more minutes than he did in that, late in that Brooklyn series. But I think now that Robert Williams is back, that definitely hurts the upside on Horford, especially as Robert Williams starts to play more minutes. And worth noting that Robert Williams is only 5K today. I have no idea how many minutes Robert Williams plays. In the 2 games he played since coming back from his injury, he played 16 and 14 minutes. He was clearly limited. They brought him off the bench in both those games. Now he's had like almost a week to rest up for this game. Like Robert Williams might play 35, 36 minutes here. Maybe that's a little bit of a stretch, but when he was healthy, he was playing like 35, 36 minutes. He might get 28, 30 minutes here. So if we're going to get like 28, 30 minutes from Robert Williams at 5K, I mean, he's probably one of the better, like, quote-unquote value plays on the slate. He's just too cheap if the minutes are going to be there. It's just right now we don't have any update on Robert Williams. I will say that if he is starting, that makes me feel pretty confident that he's going to start to play more minutes. If they're bringing Robert Williams off the bench still, that makes me assume that he is still limited. So starting lineup will be very important for Boston. If Robert Williams is starting and he's not limited, I think he's a great play at 5K. He's definitely way too cheap. And then obviously with Robert Williams back, I mean, Daniel Tice, he's been getting like some minutes, but not enough to really be viable for DFS. Derek White, Grant Williams, I mean, these guys are playable. Grant Williams saw decent minutes off the bench in that Brooklyn series. even if he plays like 30 minutes, it's Grant Williams. He could still give you like 15 DraftKings points in 30 minutes, but he's kind of similar to Pat Connaughton. He's going to get like 25, 28 minutes, and he's only 3,800, so he's a playable value. I do kind of question the upside, but I think Grant Williams is viable if you want to go there. And that's really it for Boston, so let's go ahead and talk about the next game, Golden State and Memphis. So looking at Golden State today, you have Steph at the top for 8,900, who I think looks like a very good pay-up option on this slate as well. I mean, Steph is pretty much back to full strength, no minutes limit. Last two games in that Denver series, he played 37 and 38 minutes. He did move back into the starting lineup last game, and I think, obviously he's going to be starting in this series, so we should be getting like 38, 40 minutes a night from Steph. Matchup against Memphis, I think, is like pretty favorable. Memphis does play at a very fast pace. I think this should be a fairly fast-paced game, should be a fairly high-scoring game. Not sure what the total is in this game, but I think this is one that we could see a lot of points scored in, and we know Steph really thrives in fast-paced games when he can get up a ton of shots. He crushed against Memphis during the regular season for what it's worth, averaged over 60 DraftKings points per game against them through 3 games. I know some of those games were without Clay, but I think Steph is too cheap at 8,900. He looks like a really good option as well. Definitely one of my favorite pay-up options on this slate. And on Yahoo, Steph is very affordable over there. He's only $38. He's coming in way cheaper than Ja, way cheaper than Tatum, way cheaper than, who else? Giannis, way cheaper than, really just, Giannis, Tatum, and Morant. He's coming in at $38 compared to, 57 for Giannis, 44 for Tatum, 44 for Morant. Obviously, I like Tatum, but there's enough value, or not necessarily value, but there's enough cheaper plays that you can play, Tatum and Morant, or Tatum and Steph, or Steph and Morant, whichever way you want to go. And I think Steph at $38 looks like a pretty good play on Yahoo as well. So do like him over there. I think Clay is fine. He's obviously a guy that has a lot of upside when he can get hot from the field. Last game against Denver, he did have 9 rebounds, 3 assists, 4 steals. Like, that was a little bit of a fluky game. Normally when Clay has a big game, it's because he shoots 12 for 20 like he did in game 4 of that series. When he gets hot from the field, he can always put up a big game, but he's just more of a GPP option. Jordan Poole, he was still starting last game. He did get into some foul trouble, though. Seems like his minutes, even with Steph back, it seems like they're going to start like this quote-unquote death lineup they have where they go Curry, Poole, Clay, Wiggins, and Draymond. Like, it seems like that's going to be their starting lineup the rest of the playoffs. So I still expect Jordan Poole to play pretty big minutes even with Steph back. Obviously, his upside is not as high when he's having to play alongside Steph and Clay, but Jordan Poole's shown plenty of upside. He's a guy that can get hot from 3. He's a playable GPP option, but not my favorite play from Golden State. Draymond is 6,600. I mean, he's just a solid play that probably gets like 35, 36 minutes. We know Draymond can stuff the stat sheet, does a little bit of everything when he's on the floor. He can score, can rebound, can get assists, can get defensive stats. He probably plays like 35, 36 minutes here. Matchup against Memphis, I think, is fine for him. So, I definitely am into Draymond. He's probably my second favorite play on Golden State behind Steph. Draymond is. And then you got Wiggins, who's just okay. I mean, Wiggins is someone I never get excited about rostering. At 5,600, I mean, he's a fine mid-range play, but I'd rather go up to Draymond and Poole if I could get to them. And I don't think there's really any value coming from Golden State. I mean, without Iguodala, maybe you see more minutes for Otto Porter. He played 24 last game. Wasn't very productive, but he did play 24 minutes. Gary Payton, we actually did see close out that game and play 26 minutes. I don't know if that's something that continues here, but Gary Payton is a guy that can defend pretty well, so maybe Gary Payton gets more minutes here to try and guard Ja. I don't really know. 3,400, if you want to take a shot on Gary Payton in GPPs, I don't think it's the worst idea. I'll be interested to see what his ownership is. If he's going to be very low owned, I'd be fine going there. If Gary Payton's going to be pretty popular because he had a big game last game, then he's obviously someone I'd be fine fading. But I definitely think he's a playable punt play. I think without Iguodala, that just opens up a few more minutes for Porter, Payton, maybe Kuminga plays a little bit. But that's really it for Golden State. Now on the other side, looking at Memphis, you got Ja at 9,600, who I think is a solid pay-up option as well. I mean, Ja should play huge minutes in this series, 38, 40 minutes a night. I think this matchup against Golden State's favorable for him. I don't think Golden State is too scary of a team. I mean, they're a good defensive team. They're probably going to try and do the best they can to slow down Ja, whether that's trapping. I don't know if there's going to be just one guy that guards Ja the whole game. They might could put Clay on him. They might could put Wiggins on him. Gary Payton might come off the bench and defend Ja, but Ja's one of these guys that can win in any matchup. I still think that on this slate, I'm kind of looking at Tatum and Steph and even Giannis if I could get there over Ja. But yeah, no issues going to Ja on a 2-game slate. Desmond Bane, I mean, he was great in that Minnesota series. He was playing huge minutes a night, 40-plus minutes in 3 of the last 4 games they played in. I think in this series, I mean, they're going to need, everything they can get from Desmond Bane, from, John Morant, from all these guys. And I think Desmond Bane's going to play huge minutes every night. We know the Grizzlies, they are a team that normally likes to run a pretty deep rotation, but I think now that they're, in the second round of the playoffs, they really got to cut back on some of these guys, like, the Zaire Williams, the DeAnthony Melton. Like, we've seen those guys just basically get cut out of the rotation. They're really starting to lean into their main players, like, Desmond Bane, Dylan Brooks, John Morant. You're going to get like 40 minutes a night from those guys. And I think, Desmond Bane's going to play 40-plus minutes. He's played 40 minutes in back-to-back games now. Have to think that's going to continue heading into this series. So at 6,900, I think Desmond Bane is definitely in play today. Brandon Clark was obviously huge in that Minnesota series. Coming off the bench, playing big minutes, was super, super productive. It'll be interesting to see like what Memphis' starting lineup is for this series. Like, do they change things up? Do they go back to Steven Adams? Like, probably not. Do they continue to start Xavier Tillman? Do they start Brandon Clark? Like, we'll have to wait and see. We could definitely see some starting lineup changes just because it is a different matchup. It's a different series. I think regardless, Clark probably plays like 30 minutes. If he's starting, then I think he plays like 34 minutes. He's been a really good point per minute player when he's got an opportunity. I don't love the matchup against Golden State. He might be guarded by Draymond, which is obviously a tougher spot. Draymond's a great defender, but Clark is just a really productive player when he's on the floor. He can do everything: score, rebound, get assists, get defensive stats. I still think he's in play at 6,100. I have no issue going to Brandon Clark. And then Jaren Jackson Jr., we finally saw it happen on Friday against Minnesota in Game 6. We finally saw him stay out of foul trouble, and look what happened. 34 minutes, 45 DraftKings points. Like, I've been saying it every single slate. One of these games, Jaren Jackson Jr. is going to stay out of foul trouble, and he's going to crush. And it finally happened. He played 34 minutes, had 45 DK points. As long as he stays out of foul trouble, he's got massive upside, especially with Steven Adams just basically out of the rotation right now. I mean, Steven Adams pretty much, we just got reported that he's still out for health and safety protocols. So Steven Adams isn't even going to play, and is probably wasn't even going to be in the rotation for this series. So the minutes that Jaren Jackson Jr. is getting out there without Steven Adams are great for his production, his rebounding. We saw him get 14 rebounds in those 34 minutes. He might get some minutes at the 5, and his minutes when he plays the 5 are really good as well. 5,900 is too cheap for Jaren Jackson Jr. if he plays like 34 minutes again. Obviously, it's always a risk just because he can always get in foul trouble, but this is a series where, you look at Golden State. I mean, they have Steph, they have Wiggins, they have Poole, Clay. All these guys are kind of like, jump shooters. They shoot from they shoot a lot of threes. They're not guys that are going to drive at you, drive at the basket, pick up fouls. It's not like, Karl Anthony Towns. He's someone that, drives to the basket, picks up a lot of fouls. He'll post you up. Golden State doesn't really have those type of guys. I mean, Draymond's their biggest guy, and Draymond's not a post-up scorer. He's a guy that's going to facilitate. So I'm not worried too much about Jaren Jackson Jr. getting in foul trouble in this series as I was in the Minnesota series, just because I think he's not going to have to worry too much about guarding like ball-dominant players. He's not going to have to worry about Cat driving to the paint. He's just going to be guarding Wiggins pretty much, and Wiggins is not a guy that's going to draw too many fouls. So I think 5,900 for Jaren Jackson Jr., like I said, it's just too cheap if he plays 34 minutes again, which he probably will if he stays out of foul trouble. And at $26 on Yahoo, I love the upside that he has over there, especially because on Yahoo, points or steals and blocks are worth 3 points each, and obviously those are huge for Yahoo, given the 3-point boost you get over there. But that's what I'm liking for Memphis. Dylan Brooks is playable at 5,800. He was really up and down in that Minnesota series. He's always got upside, and he probably will play like 35, 36 minutes if this game's close. He only played 32 last game, but he did foul out with like 5 or 6 minutes left. So I think we get like 35, 36 minutes from Dylan Brooks. Mid-range play, 5,800, I'm fine with it. I think he's playable. Value-wise, like Kyle Anderson, Tyus Jones, I don't know if there's much value from Memphis that I'm really liking. We saw Tyus Jones' minutes be pretty good late in that Minnesota series, and maybe going up against Golden State here, maybe they lean to Tyus Jones a little bit more. We know Golden State is a team that will play small. They'll play Draymond at the 5. So we could see Memphis run a lot of 3-guard lineups with like Ja, Tyus Jones, Bane, Brooks, and then maybe Clark or maybe Triple J at the 5. Like, they're probably going to run those type of lineups in this series. So I think we do get like 24, 25 minutes from Tyus Jones, maybe around there, maybe low 20s. He's an okay value play. Upside's not super high when he's playing alongside Ja and all these other guys, but he's playable at 4K. He's probably like, if I had to go to anyone from Memphis for value, he'd probably be the first name I would click on. But that's really it for Memphis, and that's it for this 2-game Sunday slate. So Hope you guys enjoyed this video. As always, I appreciate you watching. Again, it's round 2 of the playoffs starting Sunday, so I'm really excited for these games. I'm thinking we're going to get some pretty good series, some pretty good games. Hopefully, no blowouts, no foul trouble, none of that stuff. I'm hoping that's kind of all behind us at this point. I'm expecting pretty much close games down to the wire every single night. So should be a lot of fun. Appreciate you guys checking out this video. As always, hit that like button if you enjoyed. Hit that subscribe button as well. Again, check out PrizePicks. Go sign up over there. Use code Noah. When you do, PrizePicks will match your first deposit up to $100 when you do sign up with my promo code. And you can take a look at the board they have available for Sunday. See the props they already have posted. They even have some stuff up for Monday's games if you want to take a look at their props for Monday as well. Definitely give them a try though. Sign up with code Noah. Get your first deposit matched up to $100. But that's all that I got for today, guys. Wish you the best of luck on this 2-game slate. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Hope it helped. We'll see you in the next one. Peace.